It's been a while since I've done a Thomas video, hasn't it? If you were enjoying my Season 1 episode reviews and wondered if I was going to continue, then rest assured, I will be. I just wanted to take a break and do some other stuff is all. However, I did feel like talking about Thomas again, so I've decided to make a video ranking every episode of the first series, from favourite to least favourite. Now, it's important to note that the episodes on the lower end of the ranking are not ones that I think are bad. I enjoy every episode of the first two series to some degree, but naturally, there's some I like more than others, as you will find out over the course of the video. Your own ranking will probably be much different to mine, which is great. Let me know your rankings in the comments. If this goes well, then I'll probably do a ranking for Season 2 some other time. Without further ado, let's move on to the rankings. Having to pick an episode to put last hurts me, but I just had to pick James and the Express. I don't find the story very exciting, and I don't think there's really any visually interesting moments. It's just kind of James messing up and getting punished for it. The usage of a newspaper and a bootlace to kind of MacGyver fix together is kind of cool though. I really like the scenery at the start of this episode, but the whole plot of Thomas accidentally leaving his guard behind doesn't really do anything for me. The sight of him running down the track is amusing though, I like that. That's probably why it's above the last one, to be honest. It's nice to see Gordon getting humbled again, and James getting redemption is nice, but that's about it really. Honestly, I don't really have anything to say about this one. These last three are pretty interchangeable, to be honest, so you can kind of put them in any order you want. Now I can actually start talking about episodes I like a lot more. I don't really like the first half of this episode, with Gordon's incessant whistle, as much, but the second half, where Henry gets his window smashed by some little hooligans, and then blows a big puff of sooty smoke at them, is great. If it wasn't for that, then this episode would be lower, honestly. But I really like that scene, so that's why it's here. This is definitely my favourite of the trilogy of James episodes. That's basically an arc for him. The sight of an engine physically shedding a tear is certainly something. The part where him and Edward work together to get the trucks over Gordon's Hill is nice, and it's good to see him do well for a change. Seeing an antagonistic human character was something new for the show, so it was quite interesting to see it here. It's a nice follow-up to Toby and the Stout Gentleman, and Toby getting a chance to work hard again on another railway is awesome. The sequel to the sad story of Henry, which those clickbait articles about how dark Thomas is seem to have missed. Henry gets to earn his redemption by working with Edward to rescue Gordon's Express after the Big Blue Oaf breaks down. I think he got out of the tunnel a bit too soon, but that's more of an issue I have with the original story than the episode itself. I love the winter sets. Sodor looks so pretty covered in snow. Seeing Thomas being straight up rude to other characters just tickles me, especially with how blunt he is.
I'm Thomas, I'm pulling a train. What ugly wheels you've got.
It's a fun little episode with some good moments. Accidents and crashes are always a delight to witness in this show, and this one is no exception. It's not a devastating accident, believe me, we'll get there, but seeing Gordon roll into the ditch is cool. The nighttime rescue scene is atmospheric as hell, and I always found the shot of James so creepy. It's a Christmas episode, woohoo! As I already said, I really like the winter sets, and the final scene at night with the party itself just looks lovely. The flashback to an event we'd never actually seen before was a bit weird, but oh well. Most of this episode is really somber, with Henry suffering from bad coal, while other people just continue to give him a hard time. The situation seems really dire, until a handy solution is found. Welsh coal. As a Welsh person myself, I can't help but feel proud. I really like the narration in this one, which is why it's higher. The "what happened then, no one knows" part just gets me. Something about it just seems so playful and mysterious. The whole thing of Thomas just somehow forgetting his train and running off is silly, but, you know, I like it, it's fun. the rivalry of rail versus road is brought to the centre stage, with a fun little action sequence. It's a race accompanied by great music. It kind of stands out amongst the other episodes of trains just doing train things, but it's fine, I enjoy it. Having the big engines getting really antsy because of problems annoying them is a bit amusing, and I really like the part where James gets spun around on the turntable. The music after it is weirdly ominous too. What's up with that? The episode that introduces Percy the little green engine. It's a fun time, seeing him annoy the bigger engines. I especially love the part when he wishes Henry. Look at that expression. The part in the shed with the other engines covered in sheets always intrigued me as a kid. Who were they? Obviously it's just the other main engines covered up, but in-universe they're their own characters. There's probably loads of fan fictions about those. The scenery here on Toby's line is great. I especially love the shots with the ruined castle off to the side. This is a really sad story, and part of an unfortunate reality that railways were faltering next to roads. And I think the story did a good job of using that as a context for the events and how it affects the characters. A whimsical little episode with really nice sets. The shot of the bucket being used is creative. I love close-ups like that. The idea of a fish getting stuck in Thomas's boiler sounds funny, but apparently it's really painful and makes it feel like he's about to burst. So there's a bit of mood whiplash there. I love this sound right here. He sounds so satisfied. Is it blasphemous putting the very first episode in 9th place? Maybe, but I don't really care since this is my list. It serves as a great introduction to the main character and maybe the most prominent cast member, and it's ingrained in the nostalgic memories of kids everywhere. The original story that started it all and established Edward as one of the best characters. It would feel wrong to put it below the top 10. It's a simple little story about one engine working really hard and showing that he'll never give up despite his age and smaller size. A really good message. I swear, having the first 3 episodes grouped up together like this is not intentional. Having an episode not have a happy ending was a bold move, and I can imagine viewers being shocked. Of course, if you know what comes next then it's no big deal, but still. I love the premise, and the Fat Controller coming up with different excuses for not helping is hilarious. I love this episode for 2 different reasons. James is back up to his old tricks, causing trouble at the shed, bad-mouthing Toby and Henrietta because they're old and dirty. You'd think this might bother Toby, but he just laughs it off and takes the mick out of James's bootlace incident in response. Because James can't take his own medicine, he storms off. The other reason I love the episode is the crash, which I'd argue is one of the best of the first series. It's got the runaway theme, so of course it's helped by that. And James's collision with the tire wagons and, state afterwards is a sight to behold. Couple that with Toby's commentary on top, which is just the icing of the cake. This is a really fun episode, which I really enjoy despite being pretty simple in the story. It's basically just Thomas being pushed down a hill by his trucks. But the sight of Thomas thundering down the line while the trucks laugh, accompanied by the delightfully playful music, is just wonderful to me. I find the first line absolutely hilarious too, I don't know why.
Thomas the Tank Engine wouldn't stop being a nuisance.
One of the most iconic episodes of Series 1 with a pretty awesome accident. Thomas getting really cocky and going straight down the mine was really well crafted, and I like the little lore sprinkled in about the mine being from years ago. Season 1 doesn't really have too much in the way of establishing facts about the island, so it's nice to hear. It's a bit weird that this episode's direct follow-up wouldn't be until Season 4 with Paint Bonds Queens, so if the show has a timeline then it's a bit all over the place. Also, fun fact, this episode was based on a real accident that took place. The engine that was buried in the mine is still down there, and people have tried looking for it. I just find that really interesting. Percy's runaway scene is really intense, especially because you have no idea whether or not he's going to end up derailing or hitting something. The music makes it that much more intense too. The shot of Gordon coming straight at Percy and then stopping right in front of him absolutely terrified the pants off me as a child. So, I bet you were expecting this to be number 1, right? Well, to be honest, I was too. And I nearly did. This episode is iconic for a good reason. The scenery here is fantastic in pretty much every shot. From the nighttime harbour set to the yellowy sunrise as Henry drives past with the flying kipper. The crash is catastrophic, with plenty of time given to set it up and establish the danger, with the whole collision shown on screen as well as the aftermath. The music, from its triumphant beginnings as Henry departs, to its tense ending as he hits the goods train is just brilliant. One of Mike and Junior's best. So if you know your episodes, you should know which episode is left. I love this episode. It's structured well, with an opening that introduces key elements like Thomas and his desire to help out, as well as the titular breakdown train. After that, the shot of a terrified James rushing past with an equally terrified looking Thomas quickly kicks the events into action, accompanied by the first usage of the iconic runaway theme. Thomas wastes no time in helping out, and although I would have liked to have seen the crash, the aftermath looks chaotic enough. The music as Thomas is taking away the trucks is really catchy, and I don't actually recall hearing it again after this. It would have been nice to, but I guess that makes this episode just more special. The evening skybox at the end with all the reds up there looks really nice. All of these positives combined reinforce why Thomas and the Breakdown Train is my favourite episode of the first series. So that's all 26 episodes of Series 1 ranked. I hope you've enjoyed, but if you didn't or heavily disagree, then be sure to let me know. See you next time for Series 2. Thank you for watching.